All right, I have said before that if there's any infidelity that goes on in the relationship, it is very difficult to get back to 100% trust. But just how close can you get? In Lorelei's case here, it's pretty far still. Hey, Lorelei.
Hello.
Good morning. Okay, so give us the history of the dating, the infidelity, and the frustration you're feeling right now.
So partner and I have been together for almost 13 years. In a couple of months, it'll be 13 years. We're in our 50s, so we got together when we both had kids. I was divorced. He was separated. My daughter was 3. His son was 10. And, you know, we built our families together. We built a blended family together. I became a mother to his son. He became a father to my daughter. All of that. I supported him through a very contentious divorce and custody battle, so much to the point where I actually co-signed on a mortgage so he could save his house to buy her out, and that's where we live today. And, you know, ultimately, he's from Europe originally, and he at one point decided he needed to move back home because his parents were not doing well. They were quite elderly, so I supported that. We did a long-distance thing for 2 years, and his son didn't want to move, so his son stayed with me, and I became a guardian for his son. So when I say I've supported this man, I've supported this man through it all. You know, we went through COVID together. I joked that we spent 2 years 6,000 miles apart and then 2 years 6 feet apart, and we survived, so we were good, so I thought. 6 months ago, he came to me and told me that he had been having really strong feelings about wanting to cheat, like he wanted to explore dating other women, and he didn't want to actually cheat on me, and so he was telling me, and he thought the best thing was to move out so he could be free to explore that. So I was shocked. I was devastated. Convinced him that we should do therapy first because, again, this is more than a decade. Let's try to save this. And he agreed, and we went through therapy. And in the meantime, he was looking at apartments, but never pulled the trigger on anything, never actually signed a lease. Got to the point where his mom was not doing very well, and she ended up passing, and he had to go back home in October. He bought a ticket to be there for 4 months, so he's still there now. And before he left, I asked him, like, what's your intention while you're there? You're going to date? What's going on? Because if you're going to date, then I'm going to consider this relationship over and I won't be here when you get back. And he told me, no, I'm not going to date. I don't want that. You know, since then, we've talked to the therapist some more. He's come back around and said, like, he doesn't want to end this. He wants to be in this relationship. And so that's kind of where we are. But he's there, I'm here. We use Find My Friends on our phone so I can see where he is. And on a few occasions, I saw he was in, you know, random places around his home city that I didn't know of. And it looked to be a very residential location. There were no businesses around, and he was there till midnight sometimes. And so I was distressed and concerned. But ultimately, next time I talked to him, without me even asking, he would say, oh, you know, yeah, like I went to the movies with Steve last week or whatever, and it explained it. But that didn't stop me from being concerned the next time I saw it. And so finally I confessed to him, like, I'm having these feelings. This is really hard for me. It's really causing me concern and emotional distress. And his response was, well, just don't look at my location. Well, that's not going to happen. And so I asked him, can you just tell me beforehand? Tell me what you're going to do. Give me your plan. Just send me a text saying, hey, tonight I'm going to go to the movies with John, just so I'll know. I told him, I'll believe you what you tell me. It would be nice to know beforehand. And his response was, well, you know, I can turn off the locator, right? So then that caused me to be thinking, am I being unreasonable? Is this something that's reasonable for me to ask in this circumstance? Because I don't want to be unreasonable, but at the same time, I need my feelings to be heard and met and understood.
So what's the question? Are you being unreasonable? Okay, so in the very beginning, he told you that he was having feelings to be with other women. Then he moved out, did the right thing, didn't cheat on you or anything like that. Then you guys get back, and he said he doesn't have those feelings anymore, but you still feel like, man, even though you didn't cheat, you had those feelings back in the day. How do I know you don't have them now? Is that what we're at, basically?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And he didn't move out, by the way. He never actually moved out, and he never cheated, as far as I can tell. He hasn't cheated.
And so while he's overseas, you want him to hit you up every single time he goes out and basically give you a play-by-play of what his evening's going to look like?
At least if he's going to be out for an evening.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And this,
My thought is if he were home, if he didn't come home until midnight, he would tell me where he is.
may I just really quickly, just for one thing?
Sure.
Just for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm really starting to realize is that relationships just shouldn't be this difficult. If you're in one that's this difficult, you shouldn't be in it. It really just shouldn't be this hard. I think healthy relationships are super easy. I mean, you're always going to have some things you got to talk about and conflict, but this right here is like at the core of your it's too hard.
Relationships are work. Everybody needs to put work into a relationship, but a relationship shouldn't feel like a job.
Right.
And I feel like right now this feels like a job trying to track him and keep tabs on him. If I'm being honest, the fact that he was so forthcoming with you and how he was feeling and contemplating, other feelings for other women, but had no intention of cheating on you, but wanted you to know. And then, it came back around and it's like, no, this is where I know he planted that seed and it's hard to look past it, but he was honest with you and he was truthful with you. And you're going to have to lean into that. You're acting like his mother right now, wanting to know like his every location. And you have him on your app. Like you can track him. The fact that he hasn't even turned that off, like he knows you can see his every move. So he shouldn't have to check in with you.
To me, the battle isn't really between her and her partner. To me, the battle is between her and herself. Like she's really struggling with these insecurities. And I don't blame you because even though he was honest with you, he gave you reasons not to trust him. And it sounds like now he's surprised that you don't trust him. Because even though he didn't step out on the relationship, he still planted the seed that there's a possibility that it could happen. So I think you have to really sit with this yourself and realize you have to choose to trust him again. Because I think, yes, he has given you some reasons to doubt the relationship, but at the end of the day, like this is your partner of you said, I think 13 years. And if you're going to be in this relationship, you have to make the active choice to trust him. And I think you should probably take a step back from tracking his location. I think that would be a healthy thing for you.
I can't disagree with anything that has been said. This comes down to you having a conversation with yourself and figuring out what it's going to take for you to be able to trust him. It's that simple. Because even if you are checking his location, constantly wanting to know where he is, where he's going, where he's been, that's not healthy for you or him. It's not going to create a healthier environment. So at some point, you just have to ask yourself, can you truly get to a place of where you can trust him and allow him to be in his own space when he needs to be? And if you cannot, then you have to determine if this relationship is something you want to continue to be in.
I don't know how you can turn off this kind of distrust overnight. So you can hear our words, right? And go, okay, you know what? I'm holding on too tight. I'm just not going to do it. I don't think you're capable of it. I think the damage is done already. And if you are sincerely asking him for, to tell you where he is all the time, this relationship is done. It is really, really over at this point. If you don't have that kind of trust, let it go.
Thank you. It makes sense.
Okay.
That's kind of where I was heading, and I didn't want to head there.
It's one of those things where you don't realize like how bad it is until you're out of it. Then you're like, whoa, it's kind of easy over here. So chew on it, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Have a good day. Bye-bye. Have a good day. We just told you to break up with your man.
No, you did. Yeah. Don't look at us. Don't put that on us. Her to go to therapy.
Yeah, we just trying to give us some hope.
Have a great Monday. Plenty of fish in the sea.
The Bert Show.